Over game development time, a ton changes. There are scrapped levels, storyline pieces, maybe even just plain music. They are all lost in obscurity. Until now! Lost levels and lost worlds, you name it, we've got it. A lot of fun new stuff, it's time to take a look. Bonnie's Drunken Day, BB65, even Epicland. Every single one of them had its bit sticking out. And although they were good for one reason or another, technical, stupidical, they're all gone. So now here's the game we'll be looking at, right here on beta65. Hello viewers, and welcome to episode 1 of beta65, the show that discusses beta stuff from tests or my games. Today, episode 1 of this will be about my game series, butt shoving, and we'll be going over all unused or changed things. First up, let's talk about the first game. The only thing to really mention here is that the Kappa Easter egg wasn't actually always in the game. I added it in afterwards for shits and giggles. Also, the original version didn't have an icon either. Next up is Quest for Toast. Not much to say here either, but similar to butt shoving, the original version did not feature the Great Mighty Pooh boss battle. Moving on to BB's Not So Incredible Adventure, this game had lots of changes throughout it, and even the end result is rather sloppy. The first ever version released has title music that loops when it really shouldn't be, and that gets really annoying. Also, it makes you have to read this tiny text instead of being able to hit F1 to do so. Hitting F1 just brings up the message, "By the way, some of these rooms seem familiar to me, /face," hinting at the Breakfast Kingdom being turned yellow by BB's piss. In this scene, BB notices Mangle is butt shoving people, and goes to use his decoy, but the line that I ended up changing was originally, "I'll have to sneak past her when she's not looking, and if she turns around, I'll have to hide behind someone." This line was telling the player about a deleted mechanic I wanted to have where if Mangle was facing BB and he wasn't hiding behind somebody, she'd be able to notice him and catch him. This wasn't in my ability at the time, and probably still isn't, so it was scrapped. Another thing that changed from this version is the fact that Mangle just bounces off the other animatronics, and someone, I think it was Slosh, questioned why she doesn't butt shove them. So in the next version, I made her butt shove them. The next version wasn't even the final version either. First off, I did the F1 thing. Also, the title music no longer looped, but I still forgot to change the one line. Finally, I got around to changing this line to, "I'll have to sneak past her when she's not looking, and if she catches me, I'm f***ed." This was the final version released, and that's all that changed. You know you made a bad game when it had many issues at launch, took 2 tries to get fixed, and still is the worst. Bonnie's Drunken Day was when I started to plan way ahead of time for my games. Here's the full list of all the worlds and enemies. As you can see, all of these worlds and enemies were used in the final version. Even the puppets and this little note were used. There are some unused stuff, but we'll cover that later. Next up is Butt Shoving 2. This game was mostly made on a whim, besides the planned final boss and the beginning. So as a result, not much has really changed. Here's the original planning for the game. There's only a few minor changes that I was able to notice. First off is the fact that in the original plan, walking into the door of the girls' bathroom would make Mangle say, "I don't have to use the bathroom." Instead, you just can't enter. One of the biggest major changes, because it affects everything in the long run, is the potion colors. The original potion colors, according to this plan, is blue, light blue, and red. However, the blue potion was actually changed to pink at the last second. So when I finished the game and it was ready for release, days before, I decided to change it. Why did I do this though? If you want, take a look at the Easter eggs and representation and butt shoving video to learn more. That's all for this game though. Quest for Toast 2 had written plans for some of the beginning that I made at school. First of all, the tracker that Purple Guy uses to find Mangle was originally called a Mangle tracker, made specifically to track down Mangle, while in the final version, it's just a location device. Over here, you can see that Purple Guy was originally able to just walk into Mangle and get butt shoved right then and there, but I crossed it out as I made it because according to the timeline, Mangle had already begun her quest. That's it, to be honest. BB's Not So Incredible Adventure 2. This is my second favorite game I have ever made, and it has the most unused ideas. 4 whole plans have gone completely unused, so let's cover all of them by looking at the original notes. First up, the original final boss. It was going to be Golden Freddy in the pizzeria. Why? I have no idea, but I came up with this way before starting to play in the actual game, so the hell stuff wasn't a thing yet. The plans also mentioned Springtrap appearing in the background turning gold. Again, I have no idea how this fit into the storyline, and I did end up using both Springtrap and Golden Freddy in the game, but neither of them are part of the final boss. Next up is 3 different unused levels. The first one was scrapped very quickly as I realized I probably couldn't pull it off. It would have been a parody of Frogger in which BB has to help an old lady cross the street as one of his good deeds. The conversation would have went like, "Can you please help me cross the road, young man? What the hell is in it for me? My, what language?" Then you'd have to pick yes or no with question if you want to help her. Saying yes would make BB say, "Fine, I'll help you, old geezer," and the old lady thanks him. I don't know what saying no would do, but it'd probably end up with BB being hit by a car or something. This next idea I had for some time, but was also scrapped when I made the game. This would have happened instead of the Mr. Perkleham quiz show thing. Titled Shopping Spree, this level would have you have to do a time challenge of shopping. Basically, there would be a shopkeeper who begs BB to buy all his shit because he's broke and there's a sale. Saying no to him would make him say, "You hurt my feelings." Then he'd take out a gun and shoot BB, resulting in a game over. If you were to complete the shopping spree in a certain amount of time, BB would realize he wasted all his money on random shit and he'd just explode. The final scraps level almost got made quite easily over the true final level in the game, which is the cussing kid / Illuminati infiltration. The level is called The Race, and it would have taken place at the school like the final game. BB would talk to another kid, and the boy would say something like, "You fat boy, race me." So of course you'd be expected to say yes or no. The catch is that you'd have to let the kid win, or else he'd get all whiny and you end up being hit by a car and going to hell. Being hit by a car is a thing that can happen in the final version, but there's no race. I thought the Illuminati thing would be cooler, and it really was, so I'm glad I scrapped it. Finally, the final boss was always going to be the devil once I started the game, but it'd go a little bit differently. BB would still end up in hell after doing all the good things, never go to heaven, and want to stick up for himself. So as a result, he'd go kill the devil himself, and not because of E.T. childhood trauma, but because he thought he deserved more than hell. Finally, the devil would actually die, which doesn't happen in the final version. BB's Not So Incredible Adventure 2 definitely changed the most out of all the games. Moving on to Bonnie's Drunken Day Part 2, there were a lot of decisions to be made with what world ideas I would use. I picked 8 of them, and there was just 2 left over. These 2 worlds were Neon Land and Fruit Temple. Neon Land would have been a Moonside type thing, while Fruit Temple would have been based directly off the level Golden Temple from Donkey Kong Country Returns. Both of these can be playable though by downloading the Butt Shoving compilation zip released for the 1-year anniversary of Butt Shoving. The link for that is in the description. Now for the final game. The original title was just going to be The Finale, but I wanted to call it The Grand Finale to give it a more awesome grand feel. The plans for Kappa being the final boss was always a thing, but there's like 3 scrap boss ideas. These bosses, and I'm not sure when you'd fight them, were Kipo, Craigasm, and Cap-Hap. Cap-Hap himself was a typo commonly made by me on Twitch that I made into a joke, like he's Kappa's father, his pap. I couldn't find places to fit these in, so they were all cut entirely. The credits were planned out, since before Butt Shoving 2 probably, so some of it changed, but not all of it. Here's all the lines that went unused. Special thanks to Sea-Doggy and Slosh for something I knew I'd do from day one of starting this series, as their motivations kept me going all the way through. Well, that's all for the first episode of Beta65. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next episode.